In the last video, we cruised through Yellowstone, checking out the best geysers in the park, but we had to cut our trip short so we could escape a massive cold front that ended up causing huge floods and ultimately washed away roads and buildings, trapping hundreds of visitors that didn't make it out in time. As we luckily escaped one problem, we ran into another, which was COVID. We suspected that I got it at this exact moment when we were surrounded by hundreds of people watching Old Faithful erupt. I was the first of the two of us to test positive and feel symptoms. So it turns out Krista was having symptoms, but we did a test for her and she is negative. So I'm positive and she's negative. So now we are trying to isolate from one another in this shoebox van. So that's fun. I'm pretty much restricted to the front of the van and Krista is restricted to the back of the van. Luckily we have enough supplies to last out, until I get better, but we're just gonna have to stay in this campsite for the next 5 days or so and try and avoid any contact whatsoever. So it's gonna be an interesting next couple of days.
You're a dirty rat.
What?
Dirty rat!
Krista started showing very obvious signs that she also had COVID, so we had to find a quiet campsite to isolate for the next few days. 3 hours later, we ended up just outside the town of Helena. Alright, here we are at a campsite. We just drove around the river for a little bit until we found this particular campsite, which was this. And we paid $23, you gotta pay online, you can't pay at the front, which I learnt the hard way. And this is the view from out the back of our van. We've got a family of ducks just hanging out, and that's the river. So this river has a hydroelectric dam and a bridge which you pass over on the way here when you're going through to Helena, which is the capital of Montana. So, before dinner tonight, we have some seasoned chicken that Krista's cooked up in the frying pan, a bit of crunchy bread, and we've got some salad with spinach and tomatoes and some dressing. Quarantining in the van was really tough, especially in really cold weather that had very little sunlight. This meant we had to be super careful how much power we used as the solar panels weren't operating at 100%. Here we are, quarantine, and the duck armada is back. This is our only entertainment for the next couple of days.
We should name all of them.
Well, I've already named half of them.
I call them Mr. Duck.
You can't name all of them Mr. Duck.
Yes, you can!
You can't! There's Fluffy leading the pack. And look, they got little babies!
What about Quackaroony?
You crack me up. Alright, it's day 3 now. I've noticed the ducks and the seagulls are having a meeting. I think they're conspiring against us, but we're not sure.
I think they're going to elect the new viceroy.
Gorgeous, I think we're going insane.
This is you, stupid man.
I'm sitting in the van with a ghost.
Feed me.
So after nearly going crazy quarantining for several days, we headed north to Glacier National Park. This national park is located northwest of Montana, along the Canadian border running along the Rocky Mountains. One of the major reasons we came to Glacier was to drive the Sun Road, which is renowned as one of the most beautiful drives in all of America. But due to the freezing weather that hit Yellowstone and continued up to Glacier, the road may not be free of snow. However, having driven all the way here from California, we weren't turning around now. So after driving over 3 hours to reach the western edge of Glacier, we battled some of the strongest and coldest winds we've ever seen. It actually ripped off a small panel on the side of the van. Being in the middle of June, which is when we were visiting, which is pretty much the startish of summer, the weather was unusually cold. So here we are at 2 Medicine Campground in Glacier National Park. And they weren't lying about the glacier part, it is glacially cold! And here's the view. So just before we left 2 Medicine, the weather slightly improved. So I decided to go check out a short nearby hike. So this is a hike called Paradise Point, which is like 30 minutes walk, 20-minute walk from the main visitor center here at 2 Medicine Campground. And this is the view at the end of it. It's not too bad. It's a shame the weather's not much better, but At least it's not raining. Hey. So here we are at St. Mary's Campground. We were going to go to Rising Sun Campground, but apparently that's closed due to staffing issues, which kind of sucks. But we got lucky. We rocked up at 5:30, then we have 2 sites left and we got one of them. So pretty amazing site actually, considering it was last minute. After checking into the campsite, we quickly went out to see the sunset at Wild Goose Island Lookout, where you have a beautiful view of the valley, even though it was freezing cold. Quick side note, if you ever see full written on a campsite sign, don't believe it. Tonight at St. Mary's it said full and we came in and got the last 2 spots, so pretty lucky. So the next day we tried to drive the Sun Road, but unfortunately it was closed. Just past the sunset point we saw the night before. We were pretty devastated that it was closed, as this is known for being one of the highlights of Glacier National Park. However, as winter had lasted longer than usual this year, the road wasn't cleared in time for our visit in mid-June. Because we couldn't do all the amazing hikes along the Sun Road, we decided to find a hike nearby. So we decided to stop at Sun Point, where we could go check out Bering Falls instead. So apparently in 2006 there was a massive fire that came through Glacier National Park and cleaned up a lot of these trees, which kind of sucks. See, a lot of them are pretty charred, but it's slowly coming back. But I mean, 2006, it's a long time ago. I'd still expect to see more trees.
Oh, I hate this part.
Gotta get your feet wet. Finally, my poor choice in footwear is paying off. After checking out the falls, we had a quick look at the lookout on the way, then back to the van, followed by a little lunch stop. Alright, we just pulled over on the side of the road here, and I'm going to give you a little tour of our kitchen. Here we are, chef extraordinaire, making some wraps, and this is the view of the kitchen. Yay. And we got a waterfall over there. Next up we headed to Mini Glacier Valley, where we saw a young grizzly just casually cruising by. There are roughly 300 grizzly bears living in Glacier National Park. And we have a bear! Look at this, side of the road. What's he eating?
He's literally doing a poo.
No, he just did a little poo.
And he's laughing at us.
Oh no. Oh goodness. Okay, it says full on the sign here, but we've fallen for this before. So hopefully it's not full and it's just they are too lazy to change their signs. We just checked and they were full. Apparently they filled all the first come first served sites by 9:30 in the morning.
Which is baloney.
Which is ridiculous. So I don't know what we're going to do now. I don't know where we're going to camp. We're a little bit screwed because we've just driven an hour into the park just to have to turn around. So we just found a campsite at Chewing Blackbone's Campgrounds, which is within the Blackfeet Reservation, and it was $25 for a campsite. It's not too bad. We've got riverside views, lakeside views, and they've got some showers, but they're a little bit dodgy. They don't really go hot and you stand on planks of wood. We're just pulling up. Have a look what I've just found here. This is crazy. Look at this. So lucky that didn't puncture the tire properly. Look what I just found in the back. I found this in the front tire. Lucky it was on an angle and it hadn't properly punctured the tire. How crazy is that?
What is that?
It's like a screw. I don't know where we picked it up.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna put that in the bin.
It would have been so hard to change a tire in this goddamn van.
I don't even know how to get it out from under there. So next day we went back to Many Glacier as I was super keen on doing a hike, but most trails were still closed due to all the snow. So I decided to try and complete half the Cracker Lake Trail, visiting one of the lookouts. So those guys, I just passed them then. They said there's a grizzly with 2 cubs 2 miles up. But 2 miles up is just past the lookout where I want to go anyway. So I'm just going to play it cautious, just sneak up to this little ledge, stick my head over, have a look. And it should be well before the brown bears. They said they were stuck behind the grizzly bears, sorry, for about an hour and 45 minutes just waiting for it to move. They had to actually, they had to hike all the way up to the snow line around off a path similar to this. They said to get around the grizzly, but the grizzly was pretty chilled. But yeah, apparently there's another group of 6 people that did the same thing, went around and just kept going. So crazy. A beautiful waterfall up here. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Here we are at Leaning Tree Cafe and Campground just for the night. And they've got free Wi-Fi, which is great. And some friendly dogs. So this marks the end of Glacier. We are going to head to Banff tomorrow, even though the weather is looking pretty miserable. We're going to go there for a week and a bit. We're just going to see how the weather plays out. Hopefully have some nice days. But we should be fine. And as long as the weather stays above 0 degrees, which it will, it looks like the lowest is 8 or 7 degrees. So the van battery should be fine. And we've got a resident spider traveling with us. Have a look at this guy. He's tiny. He's this light white little fluff ball. I can't even get him in the camera. Unless it's actually a fluff ball. No, he's a spider. Oh my god, it's not a spider. I think it's a bit of fluff. It's actually a bit of fluff.
You are so stupid. I just cannot.
I thought it was a spider, but it's a bit of fluff. Look at a stowaway.
Oh my god, he's looking at the camera. He knows what's up.
You can't get out. Come on. Get out. Go. Do it. He's very friendly. But he also smells like wet dog.
Well, it just rained.
I'm gonna wash my hands. Next stop was the Canadian side of Glacier National Park at Warton Lakes. And to get there, we had to cross the USA-Canada border.
I love how, like, it says welcome to Canada, and straight away there's beer over there.
Yes. We actually need more beer. If you're crossing this border, don't forget to fill out the online visa form before you cross. So the drive to Warton Lakes was about 1.5 hours from the start of Many Glacier Valley, where we had to pay entry for the Canadian side as our America the Beautiful pass didn't work here in Canada, which makes sense. First stop was Warton Lake, which was absolutely beautiful. We then headed to Cameron Lake, which was still partially frozen over. That was a first for us.
That's pretty cool.
I've never actually seen floating ice before in a lake, so I'm pretty amazed. Why don't you pick one up?
I can't possibly carry that.
Yeah, film me, I'm gonna pick this up.
I need to pee.
Oh my god, it's so cold!
Fail.
Look at this. Make cocktails out of it.
Yeah, we can make margaritas out of it.
How cool's that? Last stop was Red Rock Canyon, where a river has exposed these beautiful red rocks that contained oxidized iron, leaving that red, rich colour. And this is Blackstorm Falls. And I ran here. It's a kilometre. I probably shouldn't be running in bear country, but there's a lot of people around, so it's okay. Pretty incredible falls though. Shame about the weather. But we're the 1 kilometre run. After completing all this in just one day, we then boosted north for Banff National Park, which was our next destination. Thanks for watching this episode. Join us in the next one where we cruise from Banff all the way up to Jasper National Park. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.